Once again, this is Frank DiMora from the End Times Research Ministry, connecting the dots between Bible prophecy and current events. Yesterday I talked to you a little bit about the El Nino effect that we're starting to see in many places around the world. And I told you that this El Nino was a super El Nino. I gave you the reports about it. I want to continue on with this connection of raging storms as we see in the scriptures. For example, let me bring you right to it. Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity the sea and the waves roaring. So we know that the oceans are going to be very, very rough. And what's going to be pushing the seas? Obviously, massive storms. And this is what we're seeing. And a part of the last days signs to us is Mark 13:8, which I quote quite often. And that's where Jesus tells us that these last day signs were going to be like birth pangs. So when we're seeing storms, we're seeing bigger storms. We're seeing the storms come quicker. Take a look at the news now. This gigantic storm called Patricia. It is the strongest hurricane ever. You understand this? The strongest hurricane ever recorded. This is a catastrophic Mexico landfall expected. That's what the report says. I'm going to play the video for you.
Hurricane Patricia strengthened into an extremely dangerous Category 5 storm late Thursday as it churned toward Mexico's Pacific coast. It is now the strongest hurricane ever recorded in the Western Hemisphere.
A sustained wind, that's constantly blowing winds of 200 miles an hour, wind gusts to 245 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure now below 26 inches of mercury. That's unbelievable. The whole situation is just going to be a mess.
A Category 1 hurricane moving ashore is dangerous enough, but a Category 5 storm is an entirely different matter, with a storm surge as high as 20 feet or even higher.
So right along the coast and to the north, and actually a little bit south of where the storm comes inland, we're going to have devastating damage right along the coast. And then as it moves inland, we're going to have tremendous rain, some 10 to 20 inches of rain. It's very mountainous there. There's going to be mudslides. Roads are going to be washed out.
Patricia is expected to make landfall sometime Friday evening along the southern coast of Mexico. For AccuWeather, I'm Monica Belanco.
Now, I can assure you that when the Lord told us the nations would be in distress with perplexity because of the seas and the waves roaring, you could see this is a prime example of what the Lord had warned about, because when this massive storm hits that coast, just as the weatherman stated, there's going to be massive complex problems for that government. People are going to be flooded out. Obviously, it's going to destroy the crops, and people are going to be desperate for survival there. So definitely complex problems coming from this massive storm.
As it makes landfall, we're expecting storm surge of up to 25-foot waves. We're talking about devastating winds.
So the report tells us we're looking at some devastating waves, 25 feet high. And of course, this is, again, what Jesus alludes to in his warnings.